Hello and welcome back to Harry's Jeti Clinic. Today we are going to look at Jeti Studio software and updating your transmitter. It's well worth updating your transmitter whenever Jeti release an upgrade. Very occasionally they manage to introduce a bug into an update, and as soon as they're told about it they will very quickly fix it with a new release. But the updates are genuinely upgrades as well. They are constantly adding new bits of functionality. One of the biggest was when they upgraded this DS16 of mine in version 3 software I bought. I was quite happy. I'd paid for a 16 function transmitter. When version 4 software came out, they'd made it a 24 channel transmitter. I didn't have to ask them. I didn't pay them. They just gave me free an extra 50% transmitter. Fantastic. But they do keep adding lots of little upgrades and more functions. So what do we do to update our transmitters? You will need Jeti Studio software. And for that, go to Jeti's main website, which is jetimodel.com. Go to Downloads, Jeti Studio, scroll down to the bottom of that page, and they've got three variants of the upgrade. Older 1.04, 1.1, 1.12 is the newest one, so that's the one you'll want. And as you can see, they offer it for Linux, Mac or Windows. Choose the one you want, download it, install it, get your Jeti Studio, get it running, and up it comes. This is what Jeti Studio will look like. A lot of blank panes. I think not much in there. These are really screens for displaying telemetry logs and all the data you can put up in graphs or Google Earth and that kind of thing. We'll look at that another day. What we're doing today is updating our transmitter. First thing, before updating the transmitter or any of your devices, always click on Help, check for updates, and with any luck you'll get back a message like this: update not available. You're using the latest version of Jeti Studio and you have the latest definition of device updates. So this check for updates is really more updating Jeti Studio than your devices themselves. Lovely. Now we need to get the transmitter going. So you have your USB cable, standard USB plug on that end, mini USB plugged into the transmitter. Plug it in and away we go. Up comes the message: start transmitter, yes. Connect USB, yes. Okay. Now, to cancel being USB connected, press the escape button there, or you can press the escape button down by the programming dial. Also, be aware that it is now charging through the USB port, which means if you're connected to a laptop, as I am, it's taking power out of the laptop battery. I don't know how much, but just be aware of it. Having connected our transmitter, your computer will now see the SD card in your transmitter as another drive. So if you went into the Windows Explorer, Device Explorer on your PC, you'll see a drive there and you can directly access all the folders in the transmitter. Having connected a transmitter, it says Transmitter Wizard, which you can force if you want by going into the Tools menu and selecting Jeti Transmitter from the drop-down menu. If I close this, I should be able to show you that if it hadn't come up itself. Into Tools, Transmitter Wizard. It would be grayed out if the transmitter wasn't connected and running. So Transmitter Wizard, there you go. Now, you can back up your transmitter, which I would suggest you do once in a while. Certainly every time you've created another new model, why not back it up? All the data on your transmitter is held on the SD card. SD cards or their connections occasionally go faulty, and you don't want to lose all those complex models that you have programmed in. But if you've got a backup, you can put a new SD card in and restore your backup. So that's just, touchpad's a bit sensitive. View your backups, recover the transmitter, synchronize log files, transmitter updates, Lua App Manager. We want transmitter update. This wizard will take you through blah, 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 blah. Down here, say next. And it's now searching for updates. It tells me up here what transmitter I've actually got. The detected device is a DS16, and it's running software version 5.3. It's found updates it can put on for me. For the DC-DS16, I can have version 5.03 standard, 5.03 Lua, or the older 4.28. Well, obviously I don't want the 4.28s, I want the very latest version, 5.03, which is what I've got. It says 5.3, but it means 5.03. So I've already got these. I'll go ahead and install it anyway, just to show you. If you're wondering the difference between standard and Lua, Lua, L-U-A, is some sort of programming language. You can write little programs in it that you can then get the transmitter to execute. And if you have a look at the website, rc-thoughts.com, he's written lots of Lua apps. There are some Lua apps on the Jeti website. You can write your own, and you can do all sorts of good things with them, especially displays, sounds, working on telemetry, that kind of thing. That was brought in really with the 24 channel transmitter, if I remember correctly, which had the memory and the processor to deal with it. The 16s are older, they were never designed with it in mind, and so their ability to run Lua is very limited. It needs very tiny programs. I don't bother with it. I've not seen a Lua app yet that I need, so I just use standard. Click on standard, and it will tell you what the new features are in this version. And with 5.03 came some very useful improvements to the logic switch capability, and then some little modifications or bug fixes. Say next. Your transmitter settings will be backed up in the next step. We strongly recommend you to perform this step. Yes, you should normally say next. I'm going to skip because I'm already backed up and it'll save time. Now, this is showing you the folders it's going to load into your transmitter. The ones with a tick are going to be loaded in. The ones without a tick will not be loaded in. There's, for say a 16, there's simply no point in loading in the PDFs of the release notes and stuff because you can't read them on there. It's going to load in audio files, not the config, because that's basically your model memories. It's going to load in devices, and that's grayed out. You cannot switch it off. Devices is a whole load of files which describe the various receivers and telemetry sensors to the transmitter, so it knows what it's talking to. Languages for the system voices, models. You don't need, I think actually that's your model memory rather than config. Config is more system stuff, and voice. Now, if you just go ahead and say update, that is going to take a long, long time. And the reason is, you click on the side arrow, look at that. It's going to load in audio of the Czech language, German, English, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Swedish. We don't want those. Because I'm an English speaker, I only want English. You only want the one that you want. Click to untick the ones that you don't want. And then the upgrade will run through in a minute or two instead of half an hour. Same with languages. Remove the ones you do not want. You can leave them in as long as your memory card's got loads of space, and usually they do. It's not going to be a problem to it. It doesn't slow the transmitter down any, not in crucial stuff. But it does mean that you'll spend, I don't know, half an hour, I need to keep English, half an hour or more running the update instead of just a couple of minutes. Down there, all done. Now I'll say update, and off it goes. As you can see, it's loading in all the English language voice files. As it speeds through them, it's done, it's doing other things. Now if we'd left all the other languages in there, it would be going through the language files for ages. There's the device files going in. As you can see, it's saying mine's already all up to date and valid because I'm a good boy, I keep my transmitter up to date. More voice files going in, already done. Don't worry if you've downloaded your own WAV files in, it will not overwrite it. It'll leave them in there. Update finished. Next. There. Successful installation. Please disconnect it from your PC and reboot. It means you reboot your transmitter, not your PC. Okay, let's go and have a look at the transmitter. I can't see anything because the backlighting's gone off. Anyway, it says escape to come out of it. So press escape. And it says, aha, do you want to restart and update the transmitter? Say yes. And it switches off. And it will stay off. It's not clever like your PC. Oh, it's going to start up now because I've disconnected it from the laptop. Can you see that? Oh, it is automatically running. I've never had that before. Usually it stays switched off, but I've pulled out the cable, so it's setting off itself. I think that's triggered it to do something. If you just left it alone, it wouldn't run the updates. It wouldn't restart. You're used to your PC where it says, oh, I've got all these updates. Do you want me to, shut down and restart? You say yes, and it'll shut down and restart itself. If you just left the transmitter alone a bit, if you'd already disconnected the cable, it doesn't restart. You just press the on power button to get it going again itself. I don't know if you can see, because the screen backlighting's not really on. Because I pulled the USB cable out, because it's charging through the USB cable, you switch off the charger. Remember, your transmitter always then says, oh, do you want to start? So that's what's kicked it off into to going, because effectively the charging was disconnected. And anyway, it will now run through installing the update. And you get all these lines of tiny, tiny text. And you just let them go. At the moment it's doing PWR update and it's reached 55%. Yeah. So just let it run. It'll tell you when it's happily finished. There we go. Start transmitter, yes. And that's it. How to update your transmitter.